Today we're going to change these rear struts on this car. Nope, we're going to go through the steps together. Take off the rear tire. Now that the tire is off, right here's the strut, the bottom part, and it's held on with these two splined bolts right here. So the next step is to take these off. Bolts are out. Now, while you're here, take a quick look around, because a lot of times your brake line is going to be attached with a small bolt for securing it, and it's going to be attached to the back of the strut. So make sure it's not there, and if it is there, go ahead and unloosen it now. Now, before you hammer these two bolts out, you're going to want to go in the trunk and unmount the tops. The top bolts are behind the carpet. And right there they are. So we're going to unloosen these ones and take these off first. As you can see, the bolts are out. These ones come out pretty easy because they're usually not too rusted being in the trunk. Word of warning, some of this shit up here fucking sharp, and that shit hurts. Alright, so the next step is knocking these bolts out. Now these are splined bolts. They've got little grooves on them so they don't turn. You don't want to turn them. What I've done here is I've taken the loosened nut, put it back flush. That way when I hit it with a hammer, I don't run the risk of damaging these threads. Alright, let's knock them out. Once you've loosened them, you can go ahead and take the nut off. Finish hitting it. Now, right here, it's not going to budge. So I'm going to need both hands for this. I'm going to have to turn off the camera, but I'm going to take a small screwdriver and I'm going to place it right at the end and I'm going to hit it. Alright, so both bolts are out. Here's the spleen I was talking about. This little edge, it keeps it from spinning. You do not want to damage this. If it's damaged, replace the bolt. Alright, so everything's unbolted, and it's time to take this one out. I had to use both hands on it, but I took a hammer, and because this is trash now, I don't care about it. And I hit the shit out of it right here, and it came right out of the post. Now, you can just take it, and take it up and out. Now, here was the problem I was having. I started hearing a clicking noise, and I could tell my shock had went bad, and it wasn't the actual shock that went completely bad, although this one is a few years old. It was actually the strut cap. See, the bolt had come through, broke through this metal, and then broke through the cap. See, went right through it. And in doing so, the strut and the spring basically wasn't attached to the car anymore. This was definitely an accident waiting to happen. New strut's part of the way on. Now the bolts are in the back. I'm going to take the new nuts and I'm just going to loosely secure it. Why I'm doing this, I want to make sure when I'm trying to get those bottom ones in that the tops don't come out of the spot they're in. I'm not gonna lie, getting the spleen bolts back in is kind of a bitch. It takes a little bit to line them up. It's gonna take both hands. A lot of times I'm gonna take a screwdriver and I'm gonna put it through this top hole and kind of pry back, and then I'm gonna sink the lower one once it's in place. Then when I've got the lower one in place, I'm going to use this hand to push up while I take the other hand and shove that spleen bolt back through. I'll try to get this so you can see it, but if not, I apologize. Alright, so you can see the bolts are back in. It is a pain in the ass. Definitely not going to lie. But once those are in and spleened, you can proceed to put the bolts back on. Now, look in your book or owner's manual. It's probably not going to be in the owner's manual, but your repair manual, or even online, although I don't really trust a lot of sites online as far as finding torque settings. You want to make sure that these are torqued down to the proper settings. Okay, I double checked my manual to make sure I've got my numbers right here. Mine for this Dodge Neon is 70 foot-pounds for these lowers, and on the uppers 35. You can see I've already set it to 70 on my torque. Now I'm just going to wait for the click. There's one. There's two. So the lower ones are done. Now I'm going to do the top ones. Sorry I didn't show torquing them down. It's kind of a tight space and I needed both hands. All four bolts are torqued down. Now we can push the carpet back, because the top part here is done. Don't want to forget one part though. Don't forget, you did unloosen the brake line here, and you do want it to attach again. It's got to have an attaching point. So let's do that real quick. Okay, so the brake line, it's back attached. Struts in place. Bottoms are done. Tops are done. So we're done with this side. Now, you want to do struts in pairs, rears or fronts, or all four at the same time. So now we're done with this one. We're going to put back on the tire, and the other one is exactly the same. You've done it. Once you got both of them on, take it for a test drive, see how she feels. Thanks for watching. Hope I made it easy for you.